The rain had been falling since morning, but by evening it had turned into a furious storm that seemed determined to wash the entire city off the map. Water streamed like rivers down the streets, overflowing drains and swallowing sidewalks. Umbrellas flipped inside out, buses splashed through brown puddles, and the sky flashed with impatient lightning. Alina Khan stood at the bus stop in her only cream-colored dress, hugging her tiny purse against her chest to keep it dry. The wind whipped her hair into a tangled mess, her fingers were numb, and her shoes were already soaked. She checked her phone again, its cracked screen fogged from the humidity. 6:52 p.m. She was 20 minutes late. Her blind date was waiting in a 5-star rooftop restaurant downtown. A restaurant she had never stepped foot in before. She couldn't even afford a coffee from there. The idea of going on a date, especially a blind one, still felt ridiculous to her. But her coworker Sahar had insisted. "You never go anywhere, Alina. You're young, beautiful, hardworking, you deserve someone who treats you right. Come on, at least try." Try. The word echoed in her mind. Because Alina never had time to try anything for herself. Everything she did was for Rania, her 6-year-old daughter whose smile was both her weakness and her strength. That morning when Alina was getting ready, Rania had cupped her little face and said in her tiny voice, "Mama, I want you to smile more. You don't smile like my friends' moms." Alina had laughed softly and kissed her forehead. "Mama will try." So even though her stomach was in knots and the rain was pouring like an angry ocean, she waited for the bus. When the bus finally approached, it hit a pothole full of rainwater. And before Alina could step back, splash, a giant wave of muddy water erupted like a tsunami and fell directly over her. Her cream dress turned brown. Her hair stuck to her cheeks. Her face looked like someone had thrown paint at her. Gasps filled the bus stop. One man muttered, "Oh, that's rough." Another woman winced in sympathy. Alina just stood there, shivering, her mind blank. Her first instinct was to go home. To crawl into bed, cry a little, and apologize to Sahar the next day. But then Rania's voice echoed again. "Mama, I want you to smile more." Something inside her straightened. Slowly, painfully, she boarded the bus. Passengers stared. A child whispered loudly, "Mama, why is that lady dirty?" The mother hushed him. As the bus rattled toward the city center, Alina replayed every possible embarrassing scenario that awaited her. She imagined sitting across from a handsome stranger, looking like she had wrestled in a swamp. She imagined him laughing, or leaving, or pitying her, but she kept going. By the time the bus reached the upscale district, the rain had calmed to a drizzle. The restaurant towered above the city, its glass walls glowing like a palace. Alina had never felt more out of place. The hostess at the entrance raised an eyebrow, her expression sharp. "Ma'am, are you sure you're at the right place?" Alina swallowed hard. "I'm meeting someone. A reservation under Zaydan." The hostess's eyes changed instantly. Respect flickered in her voice. "Ah, yes, this way." People stared as Alina walked in. Wealthy couples in designer clothes, conference groups in suits, elegant women with diamond earrings. Every step she took felt like walking through a spotlight she didn't ask for. She scanned the tables, and then she saw him. Zaydan Halim. He was standing near the balcony, checking his watch with the frustration of a man whose time was worth more than gold. He wore a perfectly tailored black suit, his posture straight, his jaw sharp, his presence impossible to ignore. Women glanced at him with interest. Men moved out of his way. He clearly didn't belong in her world. And she clearly didn't belong in his. He sighed, checked his watch again, shook his head, and said something to the waiter. Something like, greater than, "She's not coming. I should have known." And then, he turned toward the exit. Alina froze, her heart sinking. He was leaving. He hadn't even seen her yet. But then his gaze lifted, and he saw a muddy, breathless woman standing at the entrance, clutching her purse like it was the last thing she owned. His steps stopped. His expression changed, just slightly, but enough to show he was surprised. She walked toward him slowly, each step heavy with shame. I'm Alina," she said softly, her voice trembling. "I'm so sorry. The bus, the water, I." She couldn't finish. Her throat tightened. People around them whispered. Some laughed softly. A few looked away in pity. Zaydan looked at her for a long moment, too long. She wanted to disappear. Then he did something she never expected. He took off his expensive blazer, worth more than her monthly rent, and gently placed it over her shoulders. Anyone who comes through a storm like that, he said quietly, deserves to be heard. Her eyes widened. He wasn't disgusted. He wasn't mocking her. He wasn't walking away. He was kind. Come, he said, guiding her to the table. Sit. Alina hesitated, afraid of dirtying the chair, the linen, anything. But he pulled out her chair anyway. And for a moment, she felt like she belonged. When the waiter arrived, Zaydan ignored the man's raised eyebrows. Bring her a warm drink, he said firmly. Then, turning back to her, now tell me, what happened? Alina exhaled slowly, and for the first time in months, maybe years, she let herself laugh at the chaos of her life. She told him about the rain, the pothole, the bus, and the mud. She tried to skip the embarrassing parts, but he listened carefully, occasionally smiling, occasionally frowning in concern. As she spoke, the voices around them faded. The storm inside her slowly calmed. And she realized something incredible. She had walked in covered in mud. But this stranger, this powerful CEO, saw something in her that the mud couldn't hide. Strength, determination, a heart that refused to break. And that was the moment everything began to change. Dinner with Zaydan felt nothing like Alina expected. She had prepared herself for awkward silences, judgmental glances, and the inevitable moment he realized she wasn't his type. She was a single mother who sometimes had to choose between paying the electricity bill or buying new shoes for her daughter. He was a CEO who probably didn't even know what his electric bill looked like. Yet from the moment she sat down, drenched, muddy, embarrassed, he treated her with a level of respect she had almost forgotten existed. Throughout dinner, Alina watched him secretly. The way he listened, genuinely and without interrupting. The way he rested his chin on his knuckles when thinking. The way he looked at her. Not at her ruined dress, not at her messy hair, not at her cheap purse, but at her. She wasn't used to being seen like that. In between bites of dessert, a simple vanilla cheesecake she barely tasted, she felt her phone vibrate. Once, twice, then again. She silenced it every time, hoping he wouldn't notice. But of course he did. Is everything okay? Zaydan asked gently. Why yes, she lied, forcing a smile. Just, nothing important. He raised a brow. Someone seems eager to reach you. She swallowed. It's my daughter. She gets anxious when I'm late. The fork froze halfway to his mouth. You're a mother? He asked softly. Alina nodded, bracing herself for the shift. Men always changed once they found out. Some politely ended the date early. Some pretended to understand but slowly distanced themselves later. Some even pitied her, which she hated the most. But Zaydan didn't pull back. He didn't frown. He didn't stiffen. He didn't glance around anxiously as if the room might be judging him for associating with a single mom. He simply set his fork down and asked, "How old is she?" 6, Alina whispered. Her name is Rania. There was a softness in his eyes she hadn't seen before. 6. That's a wonderful age. The conversation changed after that. Their laughter became easier. The tension dissolved. Zaydan shared stories of his own childhood, how his mother used to drag him to charity events and insist he remain humble despite their wealth. Alina found herself laughing more than she had in years. But as the night wore on, worry tugged at her. Rania, her little girl, was probably pacing, calling, waiting. Alina checked the time. I think I should go, she said reluctantly. I'll drop you, Zaydan offered. Oh, no, no. You don't need to do that. It's late, and you must be busy, and... Alina, he interrupted, his tone firm but warm. You're not taking a bus home at this hour. Especially not in this weather. She almost protested again, but something in his voice told her he wouldn't take no for an answer. Outside, the rain had calmed to a soft drizzle. His car, a sleek black luxury vehicle, purred quietly when it started. Alina sat cautiously, afraid she'd ruin the leather seats, but he only handed her a tissue. For the raindrops, he said. They drove through the city, passing glowing skyscrapers, busy night markets, and quiet neighborhoods. Alina guided him toward the older district where she lived. The roads narrowed. The buildings grew shorter. Streetlights flickered weakly. She felt embarrassed. This wasn't a place where CEOs came. But when the car turned the final corner and her small building came into view, Zaydan didn't react with discomfort or judgment. He pulled up gently. "Is this home?" he asked quietly. "Yes," she whispered, suddenly self-conscious. Before she could open the door, the building's main entrance burst open and a tiny figure rushed out, hair messy, pajamas mismatched, clutching a stuffed lion. "Mama!" Rania cried. Alina stepped out quickly, hugging her daughter tightly. "I'm here, baby. I'm so sorry." Then Rania looked over her shoulder and froze. Her eyes widened at the tall man stepping out of the big black car. "Mama! Who is that?" she whispered loudly. Alina flushed. "Just a friend." Zaydan crouched to her level, smiling gently. "I'm a friend of your mom's." Rania tilted her head. "You look like you live in a palace." Alina groaned. "Rania." But Zaydan laughed, and the sound surprised Alina. It was warm, unguarded, genuine. "Do I now?" he asked. Rania nodded seriously. "Yes. Your car looks like a spaceship." He placed a hand over his heart. "Best compliment I've had all year." Alina watched the interaction, something tightening in her chest. She had dated before, briefly, cautiously, but no one ever bothered to kneel down and talk to her daughter. No one cared enough. "Would you like to come inside for tea?" she asked hesitantly. He didn't even think. "I'd love to." Inside their small apartment, the light flickered above them. The furniture was old but clean. A small heater hummed softly in the corner. School drawings were taped to the walls. "I'm sorry it's a little messy," Alina said quickly. "It's perfect," he replied, looking around. "It feels like a home." They sat on the floor because the sofa springs squeaked too loudly. Rania immediately brought out her art book, flipping through page after page. "This is my mom," she said proudly, showing a stick figure with long hair. "And this is me. And this is my lion." Then she held up a drawing. "Can you draw?" Zaydan paused. "I can try." He attempted a cat. It looked like a potato. Rania laughed so hard she rolled onto the carpet. Alina covered her face, trying not to melt. He was trying. Sincerely, wholeheartedly trying. And it scared her, because she could feel herself falling. When the clock hit 11 p.m., Zaydan finally stood. "I should go," he said reluctantly. Rania grabbed his hand. "Will you come again?" Alina froze. Zaydan knelt again. "I will, if your mama says yes." Alina felt her throat tighten. "Yes," she whispered. He smiled softly. "I'll call you tomorrow." When he left, the apartment felt strangely still, like the air had changed. Rania climbed into Alina's lap. "Mama, he likes you." Alina kissed her daughter's forehead. "I don't know, baby." But deep inside, she knew something had shifted, something big. For years, Alina had been overlooked, underestimated, dismissed. Yet this man, this powerful, wealthy, untouchable man, almost walked away. Until he saw her. Not the mud, not the mess, not the struggle, her. And for the first time in a very long time, Alina let herself dream that maybe, just maybe, her life was about to change forever.